here, we're going to be going over the solutions for the progress quiz. So for the first question over here, you're going to be factorizing, but notice that for each of these examples over here, they've got a common binomial term. So in this case over here, your answer for the very first one should be y plus z and x plus 2. And for the next one, since b plus 3 is a common binomial factor, this is going to be your answer, okay? Question number 2 over here, I hope that you guys can recognize that this is a difference of perfect squares. So a difference of perfect square, remember, looks like this. A squared minus b squared is equal to a plus b, a minus b. So therefore, in this case, your value of a is going to be the square root of 49x squared. So that's going to be 7x. Your value of b is going to be y. So substitute it back into this formula here. Therefore, your answer is going to be 7x minus y. 7x plus y, and it doesn't really matter where you do the minus or plus first. And for the very next one, your value of y in this case is going to be, your value of a is going to be x plus 1, and your value of b is going to equal to 5 because you square it both sides, and therefore your answer is going to be y plus 1 plus 5, y plus 1 minus 5 over here. And now we could actually simplify this by collecting the like terms. So therefore y is going to be y plus 6, and this is going to be y minus 4 over here. For the third question over here, you're going to be using the product sum method to actually factorize these questions. So therefore, in this case, find two numbers, multiply each other, that gives you 12, but add up to give you negative 7. In this case over here, it's going to be x minus 4 and x minus 3, and you could double check this by expanding it using the for method. For this one, find two numbers that give you negative 3 when multiplied, but add up to give you positive 2 in this case over here. So in this example, it's going to be x plus 3x minus 1. For the fourth question over here, you need to also use the product sum method, but before you can actually do that, you need to actually take out the highest common factor, as there's a common factor present in each of these terms. So for the first example over here, the highest common factor is going to be equal to 2. So therefore, if you were to take 2 outside, it's therefore going to give you this over here as an answer. And now what you're going to do is you're going to just temporarily ignore this and factorize this as it is, okay? So find two numbers, multiply each other, gives you positive 6, but add up to give you 5. I'm hoping that you guys would have got x plus 3, x plus 2. This as your answer over here. Next one, highest common factor is going to be equal to 3. So if you factorize it, this is what your answer would look like, and therefore use a product sum method to factorize these three terms over here. This is going to be 3x plus 4, x minus 1 over here. Question number 5, you're using the null factor law, so you're solving for x in this case. So equate each of these factors to 0 and then solve for x. So therefore, x minus 1 is equal to 0, or x minus 2 is equal to 0. Therefore, x is going to equal to positive 1, x is equal to positive 2, and I'll make sure that I use a word all over there. For the next example, do the exact same thing. So x minus 2 is equal to 0. X plus 3 is equal to 0. X is going to equal to positive 2, or x is going to equal to negative 3. This is going to be x minus 1 is equal to 0, or x minus 3 is equal to 0. X is equal to positive 1, or x is going to equal to positive 3 in this case. Question number 6, what you need to do is again solve for x. But in order to do these ones over here, what you need to do is try to factorize it first and then use the null factor law, okay? So in this case, the highest common factor is x, so it will be x minus 5. And now use the null factor law, so therefore x is going to equal to 0, or x minus 5 is equal to 0. Therefore, x is going to equal to 0, or x is equal to positive 5. For in this example over here, what you need to do is move the 9x over to the other side. So it's going to be x squared minus 9x equals to 0. Now, highest common factor is going to be x, so let's factorize it. X bracket x minus 9 equals to 0. Therefore, x is equal to 0, or x is equal to positive 9, okay? And for the very last example, do the exact same thing. So let's factorize it. So therefore, this is what our answer will look like. Therefore, x is going to equal to 0, or x is going to equal to positive 2. In this case, we're using the null factor law. Now, for this question over here, you're trying to find the equation for the parabola shown down below. Now, in order to answer these types of questions, you need to kind of identify which general equation are you going to be using to write your actual equation. Are you going to be using the standard form, which is the y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Are you going to be using the turning point form, which is y is equal to a bracket x minus h whole squared plus k? Or are you going to be using the intercept form, which is y is equal to a x minus m x minus n in this case? So in this example over here, notice that this particular parabola, they clearly show you what is your turning point in this case. So if they tell you what your turning point is, it makes sense that if you're trying to find the equation, you're going to be using the turning point form, since this is the only one that tells you what the turning point is in this case. So therefore, since we're using that particular equation over there, let's substitute our turning point into our equation. So if you did this, therefore it's going to be y is equal to a x minus 0 whole squared plus 2, right? Because your turning point is equal to 0, 2. So now in this case over here, I'm going to simplify this because having a 0 here is kind of like redundant. So I'm going to just clean this up a bit. So therefore it's going to be y is equal to a x squared plus 2. Now this is like halfway to the final answer. We need to find out what the value of a is, and to do that they've given us another coordinate, and then we want to use this coordinate over here to find out a. So let's substitute that coordinate in and then rearrange to solve for a. So let's sub 1 5, therefore it's going to be 5 is equal to a 1 squared plus 2. Well, 1 squared is equal to 1, right? So I'm going to write that as 5 is equal to a plus 2. Subtract 2 to both sides to solve for a. A is therefore equal to positive 3. Hence, your final equation is going to be y is equal to 3 x squared plus 2. For this question over here, you're trying to find the equation of the parabola. So in this case, notice that they don't give you what your they don't give you what your turning point is this time. So let's not use the general formula of a turning point. Instead, notice that they give you both your y-intercept as well as your both x-intercepts. If they give you both your x-intercepts, then it makes sense to use the intercept form or the factorized form of a quadratic equation. And that looks like something like this. Y is equal to a bracket x minus m x minus n. Okay, and remember m and n are just your values of your x-intercepts. So in this case, since I know that your x-intercept is equal to negative 6 and positive 2, your equation will now look like a x plus 6 x minus 2, right? Now let's find out what the value of a is, and to do that they've given us another coordinate over here. So let's substitute that coordinate, which is your y-intercept in this case. So therefore it's going to be 5 is equal to a 0 plus 6 0 minus 2. 5 is equal to 6 times negative 2 is equal to negative 12. Negative 12a. A is therefore equal to negative 5 on 12. Therefore your final equation is going to be y is equal to negative 5 on 12 x minus plus 6, sorry, x minus 2. So for our last question, you're trying to find out the turning point, the y-intercept, as well as your x-intercepts. Since this question is already given in the turning point form, then we could easily recognize that your turning point is going to be equal to 3, 8. And because that this value over here, this coefficient or this number is a negative value, then this indicates that it's going to clearly be a maximum. So TP is a maximum. So that's for part A. For part B, we're trying to find out what is your y-intercept. So to do that, you just sub x is equal to 0 and then solve for y. So if we do that, then it's going to be y is equal to negative 2, 0 minus 3 whole square plus 8. Y is equal to negative 3 whole square is equal to positive 9. So it will be negative 2 times positive 9 plus 8. Y is equal to negative 18 plus 8. Which therefore gives you negative 10 as an answer. And if I was to write my y-intercept, then let's write it as a pair of coordinates. So it will be 0, negative 10. Okay, let's now find out what is your x-intercept. So to do that, you sub y is equal to 0. So therefore, I'm just going to rewrite my equation as negative 2 bracket x minus 3 whole squared plus 8 is equal to 0, right? Now, we're trying to solve for x, so let's get x on one side and move everything else to the other side, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to use inverse operations. So let's move the 8 to the other side. So it's going to be negative 2 bracket x minus 3 whole squared is equal to negative 8. So I got rid of this positive 8 by subtracting 8 to both sides. I'm now going to divide both sides by negative 2. So it's going to be x minus 3 whole squared is equal to, therefore, positive 4. And notice that because this is a positive number, to solve for x now, I'm going to now take the square root of both sides to get rid of the square. So therefore, that's going to be x minus 3 is equal to positive 2. Also, it could also be x minus 3 is equal to negative 2. Remember, when you take a square root of any number, you're going to have both a positive as well as a negative solution. That's why we need to have or in this case. Now, all we need to do is just essentially rearrange to solve for x. So therefore, x is going to equal to positive 5, or x is going to equal to positive 1 in this case. Okay, so that's your x-intercepts. And if I was to write that, it would be 5, 0 and 1, 0. That's the end of today's video. Hopefully, these solutions helped you. Bye.